All right, let's just jump right in. In the world of software development, AI hasn't just shown up, it has completely kicked the door off its hinges. We're talking about a massive, revolutionary new force that's changing the very way we build our digital world. But, as we're about to see, this new power, well, it's a classic double-edged sword.
I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. What if you could build a new app, or automate some tedious process, or crack a really complex coding problem in a tiny fraction of the time it used to take? Well, guess what? That's not science fiction anymore. That is the incredible promise of what AI is doing in software development right now.
And make no mistake, this is not some small, niche trend we're talking about. The scale of this shift is absolutely staggering. Gartner is predicting that in about a year, almost 3/4 of all new applications are going to be built using these super accessible tools. This isn't just a wave of change, it's more like a tsunami hitting the entire industry.
So, what does this AI coding revolution actually look like on the ground? Well, it's really all about democratizing development. For decades, building software was this exclusive club, reserved for highly trained developers tucked away in the IT department. AI is changing all of that by putting the power to create in the hands of people across the entire organization.
Think about this number. The vast majority of people using these new tools won't even be traditional coders. We're talking about citizen developers, people working in marketing or finance or operations who can now build the solutions they need just by describing what they want in plain English. This isn't just some new tool, it's a fundamental power shift that could completely redraw the lines between business and IT.
Okay, so it's making development more accessible for everyone. That's huge. But what about the pros? Is it actually making professional developers faster? This is where we get to shift from the big idea to the hard data. And honestly, the numbers are pretty mind-blowing.
Let's start with the big headline number. A huge study found that developers who were using AI assistants completed, on average, over 26% more tasks. Now, to put that into perspective for you, that's like finishing your entire 5-day work week by Thursday afternoon. Every single week. And you should know, this data has some serious weight behind it. We're not talking about a small lab experiment with a handful of people. No, these were real-world field experiments with nearly 5,000 developers at some of the biggest tech and consulting firms on the planet. This is what's happening out there, right now.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Looking at who gets the biggest boost. While pretty much everyone gets a lift from AI, the biggest gains, by far, go to the less experienced developers. It's like AI acts as this superpowered mentor, helping them get up to speed and contribute at a way higher level, way faster than before.
But here comes the turn. This incredible, almost intoxicating speed comes with a hidden cost. With every single line of code that AI generates, we run the risk of adding to this invisible, growing mountain of a problem. And that problem is called technical debt.
So what in the world is technical debt? Well, think of it just like financial debt. You take a shortcut now to move faster, but you're borrowing time and quality from the future. And that debt starts collecting interest in the form of bugs, maintenance nightmares, and security holes that you are absolutely going to have to pay back later.
And this quote just nails the core fear perfectly. Are we using AI to build solid, reliable applications? Or are we just letting it churn out a mountain of code that's poorly understood and inconsistent, creating a crisis that future teams will have to deal with?
The problem actually goes even deeper than just technical debt. Bringing AI into the development process introduces a whole new category of risks that companies really have to get their heads around if they want to balance this amazing new speed with actual safety.
This really captures the central dilemma, doesn't it? On one side, you've got these incredible, undeniable benefits, unbelievable speed, access for way more people, and lower costs. But on the other side of the coin, you have some very real risks. Security holes, serious data privacy concerns, and some pretty murky ethical questions about who owns what.
So let's get a little more specific. Without a human keeping a close eye on things, an AI can easily write code with subtle but dangerous security flaws. If you're feeding it sensitive company data, you better have ironclad privacy rules. Plus, the code it writes might accidentally include unlicensed code from its training data, which is a legal nightmare. And at the end of the day, the AI is just a tool. You give it a bad prompt, you're going to get bad code. Simple as that.
So, after all that, what's the answer? We've seen the incredible promise, and we've seen the very real peril. The path forward isn't to run away from AI, but to manage it smartly. It's all about creating a partnership where AI boosts human expertise, not just replaces it without a second thought. It's about keeping a human in the loop.
So how do we actually do that? Well, here's a clear, actionable 3-step plan. First up, you have to establish clear guidelines. Decide what good AI-generated code even looks like at your company. Second, you have to invest in training, so your teams know how to write effective prompts and how to spot bad output. And third, you need continuous oversight. Use what are being called software intelligence tools to analyze all your code, both human and AI written, to find problems before they blow up.
At the end of the day, this is really what it all boils down to. The future isn't a choice between humans and AI. It's about combining the raw speed and power of AI with the critical thinking, the experience, and the strategic vision that only people can provide. The goal isn't to shun AI, but to embrace it with our eyes wide open.
So as we wrap this up, let's leave it with one final thought. We know AI is an unbelievably powerful new co-pilot, and it can take us further and faster than ever before. But a co-pilot, no matter how good, just follows instructions. The real question that every company, every team, and every single developer has to ask is this: who's drawing the map?